All right. Cool. So, yep, like I said, we are still in Barcelona. France has closed their borders. Apparently, we had a trip to England and they canceled our flight as well. So, looks like we'll hang out in our apartment here in Barcelona for a few extra weeks before we head back. Wins, Spencer. I know that you had a win, not this video verification thing, but I think you sent me something privately that had said you had your greatest month ever by 15K, right?
Yeah, man.
That's awesome, man.
And it's 100%. Thank you guys. It's like 100% due to using the heat maps. When you're trying to separate yourselves from these other quote unquote marketers out there, you guys, when you can send something as elementary yet as complex, kind of depending on the way you look at it, over to a client, it automatically is stopping these people, and it allows me to, I've said this previously, but allows me to share some knowledge. It separates myself from those other people out there that are spamming these contractors, and instantly makes it so easy to close. I mean, we closed a contractor last week for, $5,700. That's like, website build, GMB stuff. I mean, I'm able to now basically ask what I want for. Kind of a funny short story. You guys will all appreciate this. I was in talks with a guy that lives out in Long Island. He does masonry. He wanted to be able to really hit the Hamptons hard. His website was junk. We went through everything, video audit, had him there. He didn't want to pay $4,000 for a new website because he just paid $2,000 for a junk site here last year and wanted me to discount my prices. And this was about a month ago. I said, nope, sorry, I'm not going to discount it. He got all frustrated and PO'd because I used the analogy. I said, you do pool decks. If somebody had screwed up the job prior to you, would you, and I wanted my pool deck redone, would you discount your price 50%? And share. And so he was, I think, kind of offended by that. But, I know my worth. And I told him, I said, I bring a lot of value, and I increase people's businesses. And he actually hit me up and DMs today after about a month and wanted me, he goes, hey, I really want to work with you if you're willing to discount your prices. And it honestly was so powerful for me to say, you know what? Nope, sorry. I love to have great relationships with my clients. And I don't think that we had great interaction last time. And, good luck. And I hope that you have, great blessings coming with your business. But unfortunately, I'm going to pass. I've never been able to, I just walked away from probably a $5,000 payday, but a lot of headaches because
that's a great position to be in, man. That's like music to my ears to hear you say that, because I've had to do that a few times too. I know Patrick's done it way more than I have, but it's just such a great feeling when you have that, you have enough going on in your business and your life where you're just like, I just don't need this. I don't need it.
Yeah. And, I think anybody that starts a business, I started an insurance agency 10 years ago, and I was writing everything, the little tiny renter's insurance policy that paid me $25 a year. And those people were headaches, and I was servicing the heck out of them. And I got to a spot where my business was good enough that I could just say, you know what, if it's just the renter's insurance policy, I got to pass. We're not going to take that on. And there was periods of time I would have took this guy from Long Island that didn't want to pay for it. But, it's kind of funny that the guy that's targeting the $1 million homes, the multi-million-dollar homes, they want you to discount your price to where I'm like, if you're not paying up front, he's going to constantly be a pain in the butt and constantly be looking at pinching the pennies, even though he's wanting to land multi-million dollar clients. It's unreal to me. So, but yeah, it's a great win. All I would say is about as far as the prospecting method, I know there was a question that came up in the group, if I could share my offer price, length of contract. Yeah. So, so a lot of this, what I'm doing, you guys, I did post, I believe an example video in the group is, you know, I'm landing some clients with just an audit, going through using GMB Crush, using LeadSnap, heat maps, you know, just shooting holes in what they have going on in a nice way. The one thing that Patrick and I talked about was making sure that you're not referring to yourself and trying to earn their business by saying things like, you know, we do this, we do that, yada, yada, yada. I just assume they have a marketing person and they have a website person. You know, hey, I'd have your marketing person change this. I'd have your website guy change this. And most of the time, these people, 99% of these people don't have anybody. And you can tell, this is a website they built themselves. So then I do that. Most of the time they want to have a follow-up call, you know, because they've just been caught with just so much value and so much insight that they're like, holy crap, like I need to work with this guy to improve my business. So we're really, I'm a firm believer of just getting the foundations right. A great website with great content, as well as, you know, an optimized GMB. So we're selling websites for anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 for the site. And then, you know, optimization of GMBs, if they already have one that's verified, then it's, you know, we're doing like $750 to $1,000 to optimize it. And so that type of stuff adds up. SEO contracts we've been doing for about $750 a month for a 6-month commitment for these folks, and then just doing GMB posting, pictures, post 3 to 5 times a week, and Q&A, 10 Q&As a month for like $297 for the month. So we're getting these guys into clients, and you know, Patrick and I kind of disagree with this a little bit, but I'm using this, you guys, as a way to prospect for lead gen people. If they're great clients and I want to work with them, like after we grow their business and things have been great and they pay on time and they're happy with what I'm doing, then my next, you know, step 5 or whatever the case is after we've grown their business is let's build some lead gens and let's really dominate this market. And you know, the thing is, like, if I could have went and built a lead gen for the guy in Long Island, and I would be in bed with this guy and he's a jerk, you know? And so it's great that I'm using this as kind of like, hey, let's see how these first 6 months go and how I'm able to, you know, grow your business. And then let's talk about lead gen after that. So hopefully that helps. Patrick.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. I'd love to see that you're doing this. It's the same strategies that I've been sharing for a while, right? And I think one of the differences, you try to locate this like tweak and say, well, like, what is your exact pitch? Well, I'll tell you what the biggest difference that I've noticed is not like the framing of it. It's the fact that he took action, right? It's like these small details, they matter at some level, but you know, by just getting out there and giving yourself an opportunity to close these deals, that's what matters the most, right? You're going to learn more from that than you can. You know, it's like you're kind of standing on the sideline watching the game, trying to figure out exactly how the game is played. You can do that for a few minutes, but where you're going to learn is when you get in there and you kind of feel it and start to do it, and then you can tweak. You did. I think you had your original post you put out there. It kind of like flopped, right? And then we worked through it and we talked, and that's where we had these adjustments, and then it kind of just like took off, right? So
yeah, exactly. The other great. Oh, sorry, Patrick, go ahead.
I just think the key is to, like you were mentioning, to don't show up as a marketer. Don't do that. Like, show up as someone who's just giving value, someone that's giving a gift to these people. And when you come from that angle, you completely disarm them. If you picture if you picture like somebody's knocking on your door and they've got like, you know, a knife set or something, and you right away, you're just like, get the hell out of my life. I don't want anything to do with this person interrupting. But if this guy shows up and, he's got something else that's completely interesting and he's not even trying to sell it, maybe he's got a cell phone in his hand and he's like, hey, is this your phone? I found this. And then a conversation starts and then he comes and through the conversation, you discover that he has some service. That's completely different. And that's kind of what we're doing. Everybody is so on guard right now. We're just overwhelmed with people pitching us stuff. So if you try to use this prospecting method as a marketer, you get put into the marketing bucket, and that's not where you want to be. That's a hard thing to climb out of, right? And you guys are dealing with this all the time too. I'm sure you get all kinds of spam emails, hopefully not form submissions because you're using the plugin or the awesome filters we have. But you guys know that mindset. You have to think past that though. And any of you guys can do this. Spencer, I think it's a little misleading, I think, because you said you've had your best month by 15K, which makes it seem like previous months could have been like 60K and now we've increased it by 15, but I think you went from like 10 to 25, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's
a massive jump.
Yeah. That's a huge jump in 1 month. And these are the exact same results that we saw last time where I pushed, this was about a year ago with Adam McChesney, right? And I think it was Jarrett Miller. Those two guys were not doing big numbers and they started with this, and you guys just get out there and try it. And, Jeff, for anyone that doesn't know exactly how to do this, I pitched it on a couple of these videos. If you're interested, throw a comment in, and Jeff, if we could tag you guys and you could see my exact pitch of what I would do. And I was just kind of like shooting from the hip, but you do it a few times, you'll get great at it.
Yeah, and just keep in mind, you guys, Patrick has this contest going on within our group as well as Williams G&B group, and I think I've done somewhere around 45 of these audits. So, it's the famous Michael Jordan quote. Wayne Gretzky.
Gretzky, yeah.
You miss 100% of the chances you don't take. And for me, it's like Patrick knows me well enough. Like, I guarantee I will outwork anybody. And that's my mindset. Like I'm not the most talented in a lot of things in life, but my work ethic is there, honestly. And I pride myself on that. So, when you go from 10K to 25K, my biggest issue within the last few weeks has been fulfillment and a lot of long ass hours. Patrick knows I'm a workaholic just like himself. He's supposed to be on vacation and he's doing 60-hour work weeks. So anyway, so if that gives you guys any insight, really, I just want to encourage everybody to, I know this sounds rude and like a jerk, but get off your ass and just start working, and put in the work, because if you put in the work, great things come.
For sure, man. It's I've got this, I don't know if you guys have read this book. God, what was it called? There's no such thing as talent or something. Talent is overrated. I don't know, but it was like a Malcolm Gladwell book where he talks about there's not a lot of examples of like pure talent. If you look at all the most successful people in history, like Tiger Woods' dad was like a serious golfer and he was a coach, and he used to take Tiger Woods out into the garage and he was swinging the club slowly in front of him as a baby. And then, Tiger Woods had more experience in golf than like anyone documented in history by the time he was like 10 and 15 at those two different points of his life. Turns out he's like all this other stuff that happened, whatever. Everyone thought he was the best golfer in history for a while there, or arguably one of the, or maybe undeniably one of the top three. Right. And coincidentally, he had more swings than everyone else. It's like the work makes it look like talent. I had no experience in this industry, in 2016, really. I didn't have experience building lead gen sites. I had no experience building software platforms, but you do the work and then you create this result and people look at you like you're so talented. And it's like, I'm like, man, that's not how I remember it. I remember just like doing the reps, and that's great because all you guys can do. What's that?
The 30,000 hours you put in to learn it or whatever,
Yeah. Which is awesome because It doesn't matter what, if that's the case, right? We all have that opportunity, right? It's just a question of, are you going to be able to arrange your schedule and get the work done and do what's necessary and kind of move past it and anticipate that it's going to suck sometimes. You're going to get punched in the mouth. I was looking back on this year, 2021. So we just did our first team planning meeting for 2022. So we're kind of like going through things. We did about a 2-hour meeting today with Jeff and the managers on our team. And we're like, and I'd love to hear from some of you guys. We could kind of do a lightning round. I want this call to be a little bit different. A lot of times we're going into technical things or theory or practical stuff. We'll do a little bit of that today, but I'd love to hear. It's an important time to reflect on the year. I'm a big believer that you don't learn from experience, you learn from the reflection of experience, right? So sometimes that happens naturally, but it's important to look back and recall these lessons and think through this, spend some time, embrace the defeats that we took in 2021, work through them, and be better prepared for 2022. So we worked through, and everyone on my management team, I asked them some questions. I was like, what were the big wins for the year? And some of them was awesome, hearing some of the personal stuff, that the personal wins that there was actually 3 people of the 5 that had mentioned like health and fitness goals that they had worked on. And it's weird that those kind of happen together. Like coincidentally, Jeff and I are like healthy. And I think showing up this way and I'm not saying that they're like following our lead, but when you're around these type of people, then you kind of gravitate towards it. And it's awesome to be a part of that. We went through the biggest wins professionally and personally and biggest learning experiences. I know for me, 2021 and the few months in the end of 2020, there's been a lot of like betrayal that's happened in my life, from a crazy personal thing with my cousin and a kind of semi-business relationship to we've caught like 5 people stealing from us on our team. And you come to this, and I met with my team last week, and we talked about this, is like, when you face these situations, and we're all going to face them, you have a decision tree in your life there. How are you going to look at this event? We had a lot of fraud that happened just last week. It ended up costing me several $1,000s with related to this what we're doing here with the platform and everything. I'm not going to go into the details of it, but it is what it is, and it's an awesome learning experience, right? That's how I'm choosing to look at it. And you guys are going to face these things. You're going to lose clients. You're going to lose GMBs. You're going to lose whatever. Like the shit's going to hit the fan some of the time. How are you going to look at it? What are you going to take away from it, right? Are you going to turn this into something positive? Because that's what I did. I'm like, man, what an awesome learning experience. All this stuff that we went through over like the last like 18 months or so, we not only did we survive it, we like thrived with this, right? We thrived with the pandemic and like dealing with these like multiple betrayals. Like business has never been better for us. My team has never been closer and stronger, right? And this is with us. What does it look like when we don't have to deal with these challenges? And the learning lessons that we're taking away from this stuff are phenomenal, right? So you guys are going to be faced with these situations, and whatever happens, it's happened. And really, I learned this when I was playing poker for a living, is that like, I would be a 25-1 favorite for, several $1,000s, and that 1 or 2 cards that could comes out and changes everything. And I lose. At that point, it's over. And what was great for me that other people struggled with a lot was, as soon as it was over, it was over for me. I was like, okay, like that's in the past. So like, what's the mental state I need to be in now so that I can be best prepared for the future? The longer I hang out in this, like this victim mentality, the longer I'm like performing subpar. In a game where the cards are coming up fast, it's important to recover quickly. And our business is now moving into the business and dealing with this stuff, discovering that a few of our developers, Jeff, what did we calculate? I think it was over $20,000 that was lost through developers stealing time from us, essentially.
Something like that.
Yeah. So
Well,
a few things.
Sure.
A few things like extreme ownership means like who owns the company? I own the company. Who's responsible for the management of that? Who's responsible for hiring these people and measuring what they're doing and all this stuff? It's all me. I'm responsible. So I made all the decisions here that enabled this to happen. So let's take ownership of this because it becomes empowering when you do that, right? And then like, what can we learn from it? Because it's over. It's happened. I can't do anything about it, changing it now. I can learn from it and move on and not be like blaming people on my team and destroying our team culture. Instead, using this as an opportunity to teach them and lead them, right? Be the leader, be like, what is it, Gandhi? Be the change you want to see in the world. You got to do that for your team, right? And not make excuses for this stuff. So I think that's for me is one of the most valuable learning experiences and, just kind of realizing the way our actions affect the entire team. And, I kind of see our guys leveling up with this mentality. And, some of the big wins, like, running this group, I think has been a big win for me, connecting with so many of you guys, seeing this massive impact that we've had on people like Spencer, right? Spencer is, like I kind of have my own profile mentally on all you guys and the impact that you guys have on me. But I've seen Spencer, there's a couple dozen people who have showed this appreciation for me. That's a huge win to be able to realize that we're having this impact on you guys in your businesses, in your families. And, it's amazing. We got to meet several of you guys this year. I got to hang out with the guys in New York, and we met Harry, went out for dinner in Virginia. And, it's been awesome. Our agency has grown. I would say another win for us this year is we've got some phenomenal coaching that we're involved in right now. And like, I'm in a season, I can feel that I'm in a season of growth. I feel like we have a ton of unrealized gains. So I don't know if you guys want to share. I'd love to, if we could do like a lightning round. Any of you guys, don't be shy on this. Is any of you guys want to share some highlights from 2021? I really want to, let's take this moment to reflect and think about this and prepare for 2022. You guys didn't see the call from last week. We did a ton of planning talk last week. We're laying out your goals and kind of like building a structure, right? So does anybody have some big wins they want to share with or big learning experience that they want to share with the group from the last 12 months?
I mean, I'll share, Patrick.
I can't even tell. Oh, we got Alfredo. Yeah. What's up, man?
So, I mean, for me, it's been a huge, with LeadSnap. I mean, when I first started, you're trying to find your industry, your niche, what you're good at, what you're not, prospecting, like where to go, what to do. So you go through that phase and then you get your first, second client. And then you're like, shit, okay, what do I do? Fulfillment, onboarding, contracts, and all that jazz, and having that all over the place. So LeadSnap for me has been huge where, Patrick, you helped me with my questionnaires and onboarding form last couple of weeks. I got those on there, the heat maps on there. With this, there's a lot of different softwares out there. I think I came across you, Patrick, at the right cross point, because with LeadSnap for me, it embeds everything that I do with heat maps, GMB, prospecting, all like in one. It's all baked in. So it's helped me to, at my level or where I'm at in my journey, to like, okay, now I level up. Now I have all those things in place. Now it's time to level up more. I think fulfillment is my next, area. Awesome, but for 2021, I think it's helped me level up, in that sense for my journey.
Yeah, and that fulfillment piece, man, when you look, the community that I'm really trying to set the tone for, I haven't tried to grow this group because I got some really good advice from like a Facebook group growing master. And she said, you need to set the tone of the group. And what I want for the tone is like to help each other. So Alfredo, as you kind of move into, the fulfillment phase, and Spencer is there now where he's like going to be buried in fulfillment, you're going to start to have these questions and to have a group. There's a lot of people in this group that are really successful, right? It's not like me, the only person that's doing big. There's a ton of people in here doing big numbers from other groups and all kinds of stuff in here. And to have this community behind you, like, and support you, like maybe the fear for the fulfillment isn't as strong is kind of my hope, is like, you got a lot of people in there that have your back. We've all been through these same problems. We don't know what you're dealing with until you post it in the group and you put those questions out there or ask on a call. But if you do that stuff, I think we've got some great answers for you guys. So that's awesome, man. It really sounds like, Alfredo, it sounds like you've got an action plan now, and you're kind of like bringing everything together and preparing to take off, which that's super cool, man. Any of you other guys want to share or, throw some stuff, maybe throw some comments in the chat. If what learning experiences, biggest wins. Patrick, I know you've had a lot of wins, and Devin, you guys have wins, a couple times a month. Do you have any big things that, looking back? I know, Devin, you've been dealing with some personal stuff with your mom going through some health things and then moving to Oklahoma, right?
But I mean, like, those are a lot of great learning lessons at the end of the day. Like, obviously you can't control some of those things, but the way that you handle those things and respond to it while trying to grow and run a business, they're huge. So earlier this year, at one point, we had hit our first 10K month. We've chosen to downsize from there just with the move and everything with my mom's health. And it's really helped paint a picture of what it's like to grow. But then also I realized it wasn't sustainable what we were doing. So to be able to have the opportunity to take a step back and figure out something that can become more sustainable and scalable. And then, like with the call last week, how to plan everything out, it's like, while financially we're not going to be at the same point for a little while, it's like mentally the lessons that we've learned is only going to help project it so much better next year. So it's been huge.
Yeah, for sure, man. That growth is not meant to be linear. I think that's a myth where people think that growth just looks like this. That's not how it goes, because as you grow, things break. And sometimes you got to like pause, kind of resort things, and then grow again. We're not right now, my agency, we're not at the highest revenue that we've ever been at. We're not, but I think we're more profitable now than we've ever been, right? So we dialed back some things, and we kind of, we pushed a couple clients out recently that we're just like headaches. And, we're at that point where, like Spencer said, we're just going to like find the client we want and kind of turn down people, right? We were dealing with some issues with, where was that, in Maryland, Jeff? We got rid of Virginia or somewhere. Yeah. It's just these headache clients are going to waste your time. And it's that's a learning lesson in itself, right? And to be able to get into that situation where you can make those decisions, because if that were my only client, that would be a hard decision to make. But when you got like 40 other ones, it's like, well, I don't need you. I'll find someone that's not going to be a pain in my ass, right? Brian Jones, is this your first call?
I've seen him before.
Have you?
Hello, can you hear me all right?
Brian?
Yeah, man, I saw that you had just signed up for the platform. I wasn't sure if this is your first call.
I've seen some of your recordings, so it's my first live call. Yeah, so I've been on for about 24 hours, getting my feet wet.
Awesome, man.
So,
well, welcome, man. Welcome to the group. Where do you have any challenges or anything with your business? Where you are and what you're trying to get out of this?
Well, a quick transition to the 2021 story. I sold my family business where I ran an e-commerce store. So I was doing SEO for e-commerce. And 10 years ago, I started another company, a digital agency with my partner. So we're 10 years in and we do low six figures. We're pretty successful at that. And it's all organic and GMBs. So she's very good at it. I kind of ran into.
We did a call earlier this week, right?
Yes. And I think we have a call.
Sorry, it was so many calls.
So it's just funny how it works out. Like now I have a full commitment to do sales and prospecting because we've kind of leveled off, and this year could be a really good growth year for us. And I fell in love with the heat maps when I saw that stuff. One of the things we were missing, and even the review management, we didn't have a good tool for that.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. It just so happens I bump into your software. I don't remember how I bumped into it. I'm like, geez, these two things alone make it worth it for me, especially when I can dedicate 100% of my time for the sales and marketing side of it. So I'm excited for this year.
For sure. Yeah. And I'm super excited too, man. We've got some big stuff coming for you guys. Like I said, we have a lot of unrealized gains. Jeff and I are spending a ton of time right now working on client success to try to identify where people are and how we can bring more people forward. Right. So that is a big part of our focus moving forward. You guys are going to see some changes. We've got some tutorials that we're building directly into the application. One of the things I've noticed is there's a lot of people who aren't even aware of some of the features. Like we've had people that are leaving the platform, and then we'll have a conversation, and they're like, "Well, I'm looking for this." And I'm like, "Did you know that that's like built in?" You're like, "What? I didn't even know that." So we're doing a bad job on our end if that's the case, and we're working towards how to make everything easier, more client success stuff. And then, for maybe starting in the second and third quarter, we have some features that will roll out. We've got a batch of features that we're about to push out. We've got the white labeling stuff that has been taking way longer than I had hoped. Anxious to get that out. We've got a lot of reporting stuff that's coming out here real soon. With development, I know Harry knows this. With development, it's always a little unpredictable on how long things are going to take, right? You're going to run into dependencies and all sorts of issues that tickets are going to come in that you don't expect. So, it's all this stuff is near the finish line. I know that you guys have been patiently waiting for this. We're anxious to get it to you. We just have to do it in the right order. You guys are going to see some big changes in this platform. I'm really relying now on, and I wish I would have been smart enough to do this before, is just like hiring the best possible people I can hire as consultants to educate us in one way or another. And that's with, the software company as well as our agency. Like, let's hire the best person that does like this, right? And let's take that and like add it into the snowball that we have here. So cool. Any other big wins or learning lessons from 2021?
Patrick, I'll go and I'll kind of piggyback on Alfredo's comments. Like, we hired a fulfillment team. We put together a fulfillment team that was small, and since I've been able to really grow with my growth, I've been able to grow this team of mine, and that is huge, you guys. I went from having to do all this stuff myself, having to build websites to do 100% of everything, to now I can really just focus on selling. And some of the fulfillment stuff that I don't really want my team doing quite yet, because some of it is, some of those things you don't really want out of the bag quite yet until you can totally trust your team that they're not going to go and sell this to somebody else or use it with another client of theirs. But that was huge. Also, I want to let you guys know, I mean, with my biggest month, Patrick, I shared with him some of my personal challenges. Like, I have chaos in my personal life all around me. And it's super motivating to know that, I have a sick partner that's permanently disabled now due to COVID, which that's a long story, but I have a sick sister that was diagnosed with ovarian cancer in 2020 that now has brain cancer. My mom has mental illness where I've had to cut her out of my life. Like, all this crazy stuff is going on, and honestly, I just keep the blinders on with my business. And I joke that I'm going to write a book called Bulletproof after all this is over. But I just want you guys to realize that, you can overcome. And the one thing that, you know, people like Patrick, people that I surround myself with now is this is all about mindset. 100%. I keep telling everybody, if you can figure out a way to just fulfill whatever you do, just go sell your pants off and figure out the problems afterwards. Because if you surround yourself with people like Patrick, you know, William Jones, you know, some of these heavy hitters in the industry, I have 100% confidence if my team can't fulfill it, I can pay somebody to go do it for me. And that's a good position to be in, because before I was like, oh gosh, you know, you're constantly questioning yourself. Well, if I sell this website, I don't think I can personally build it. So what am I going to do then? Or if I sell this package, or I do this SEO thing, I don't know how to fulfill a lot of that at that time. Now it's just having that pipeline and knowing exactly where to go once you sell it. And that is powerful. And honestly, the only difference for me has really just been mindset. And Patrick, I think, will attest.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's you know, I'm big on the quotes, and one of the quotes that is a mantra for me is the person that says I can and the person that says I can are both usually right. And if you can like let that soak into your brain and like get in there, like you've got a group of problem solvers in there. I sold a site for a Magento e-commerce site. I have no Magento people on my team. It's a complicated platform. Brian probably knows, he's got that e-commerce background, but I have zero doubt that we're going to have an issue. Like we'll figure it out, right? I'm going to get it built. I have the groups and the resources of people to ask questions too, if I need to. And you guys do too. You guys go and land a client. Like you don't have to know how to do it right away, right? You've got 600 people in these groups that have, a lot of us have done some of these, and you can hire a consultant, right? You can go and like, let's say you go and you sell something that you don't know how to do. You can go on Upwork and literally hire somebody. Maybe they're $100 an hour because they're phenomenal at this, and you pay them for 1 hour of their time. And like, hey, what should I do to this? How should I set this up? Right? Whatever it is, or like probably 99% of your questions can be answered in this group, but in that edge case, there's still a solution for it. So if you can kind of get through that block and realize that our time is ticking, like time's going by right now. There's like, let's have some urgency to move this. And like, we can get through this together as a group, right? You tag me or you tag somebody else in here. I try to answer 100% of the time, guys. So don't feel like you're in this alone, right? Take advantage of the group, post this question, whatever question is in there. And you guys have to have enough like self-awareness too. Like Spencer is somebody that is confident selling, right? That's kind of his forte. I think people kind of fall into three groups in this, three distinct groups. There's like a group of people in here who are comfortable with sales. There's a group of people in here who are not comfortable with sales, and they fall more into the fulfillment side. They kind of like the processes and like doing the stuff, the technical stuff. And then there's a third group of people that have the sales and the fulfillment locked down, and they're comfortable with both of those. And that's the smallest group. But if you're a problem solver, it doesn't matter what group you're in, because you can solve for what doesn't exist. If you're not good at sales, there's a ton of good salespeople out there, right? Find somebody else, give them a commission, right? Give them a piece of this. It's better than not having anything, right? Where you're not doing anything at all. Awesome. All right. Spencer, thanks for sharing that. What else? Jeff, do you have any wins from 2021 to share?
Oh man, I got a big list, but I think the main ones are really just having the opportunity to work with you on the agency and the software. You know, we were talking about it earlier on our team call, and it's like, I'm obsessed with personal development. I always have been. And I've always had, you know, I mean, like anybody, we have challenges to overcome, right? I had a lot of fear of social interaction. I wasn't a salesman. I kind of got over that right before the year before I started working with Patrick. And he and I had started kind of building a friendship during that time, but it was just taking those reps and just over and over and over again. Just the way you get over the fear is just consistent courageous action, you know? And so by the time I got on Patrick's team, I was able to fulfill for him on the sales side and bring in a lot of new business and kind of like right side things. And as we kind of built a stronger relationship, now it's like I get the opportunity to do all kinds of personal development in these coaching groups that I'm in with him, and other more personal coaching groups that he supports me in, and all of that. And it's just this massive like flow state that I feel like I'm in, where I'm constantly challenged by new things that are coming up, but I'm also building such a massive skill set to apply to these challenges that it just feels amazing to be working with the right people and the right product and the right time, the right business model and all of that. And to be able to choose your clients, like we kind of hinted at before, is just an amazing perspective to come at things from and not be desperate. It's like that move that Spencer made is whether I think he realizes it, but that's a huge shift in his whole business approach. Once you've done that and you've declined a big chunk of change, then going forward, you're always going to have that kind of extra level of confidence that is going to allow you to choose who you do business with and how you do business. And I never had that before I worked with Patrick. Patrick had this platform where he already had an ongoing business that was successful. So I kind of got the benefit of coming into that, where if we lost a client, it sucks, right? But it's not gonna scuttle the ship, right? We're still moving forward, and to already have all those resources in place has really been amazing. So, I mean, the things that I've gotten to do this year with Patrick, go, sponsor the app at Trafficking Conversions, go to multiple like high level coaching program events with Traffic and Funnels and Dan Martell's group, and, like I say, other coaching programs that I'm involved with on the personal side. I mean, this is the life that I've always wanted, and that has taken me a lot of years to create for myself. And I feel like now all of those things have kind of come together into this big opportunity for me to be involved with the types of people in business and all of that I want to be. So I'm just super grateful for everything, my life and the opportunities that we have going forward for 2022 and beyond.
Yeah, that's, I mean, obviously you've been a huge benefit for our agency, and just kind of connecting, and it's been awesome to kind of see you fall into your own, right? And kind of like this confidence shift that you've had, and it's just kind of like watching you interact with the people in the group and support people. It's been awesome. One of the things that I'm excited for in 2022 is I'd really like to have some events. We'll probably host our first event sometime in the spring. If any of you guys are interested, it'll probably be something smaller. We'll limit the number, maybe to like 20 or 30 people. Kind of do a weekend thing. It will probably be in the Nashville area. That's where we're probably going to be based out of here pretty soon. There's a possibility we do it in Austin somewhere. But if you guys are interested in that, we've done a lot of these. Jeff and I have done several of these with, groups of our friends that are in the industries, and, they'll certainly be a part of it. But yeah, I don't know. I'd love to hear your guys' feedback if that sounds like something you guys would be up for. I know a lot of people, maybe a few people on this call have expressed interest into it, but we're going to start pushing those out. I really want to build this community, and these friendships are huge, and it hasn't been easy for us, right? Like the struggles that you guys are going with, the self-doubt that you guys might have are things that I went through too, and Jeff has been through. And when you're unsure, like maybe there's some like verification or validation to know that that's part of the road that we pass through, and creating these friendships and relationships along the way with the people that are in these industries and doing these things has made this process a lot smoother. And it's one thing to get on a weekly call and to have like Facebook chats, but it's another thing to spend a weekend with somebody where you're sitting together in front of a laptop, talking, having drinks, going through these different situations, and then building that friendship to the point where we can get on a phone call and say like, hey man, what would you do in this situation? Here's what I'm struggling with, right? And to be able to get an answer that you can trust, right? So I'd love to create that for you guys, not just with me, but with each other, right? Because I certainly wouldn't be here without a number of those people along the way too.
Yeah, it was at those events where it's not where I met Patrick necessarily, but where we were able to spend more, closer time getting to know each other and our challenges and our skills and what we had to offer. And then when the opportunity came up to work together, it's a no-brainer for me anyway. I think it was for him too. It was a no-brainer for me.
You seem like the best option at the time.
Right.
Cool. Yeah. So that's kind of some of the stuff we have planned for 2022. Look, guys, we put into the group last week. It's posted in there, the sign up for accountability. So I'm trying to start that on January 1st, but I wanted to have this call before we built out all the groups. I know that a few of you guys have requested to stay inside the same group, and I'm kind of torn on whether to do that or not. I think there's some of you guys have kind of formed these close relationships with the people in your group, and obviously those don't go away if we were to split into these other groups, but there's something to be said with making these new connections and getting things, kind of like widening this network of people that are doing it. So we've got a lot of information. The last time when we started this in October, that was the first time I'd done it in a group like that. And there's a lot of learning that's happened. So kind of like, matching people up based on where they are in the business model, I think would be really good, because having people all over the board, I guess there's pros and cons. Some people participated, some didn't. I stayed in the groups and kind of monitored those. So taking some of the people that are strong, instead of having like 3 or 4 strong people all in one group, maybe kind of like spreading those out to make sure that all the groups have some strong leaders in there. So those are some of the things I'm struggling with. If you guys want to be a part of it, sign up for the forum. I recommend it. I would have loved to had a way to measure growth in the group compared to growth without the group. But I think what we can do is we've got a few people. I brought you guys on in the past, Patrick and Devin. Did you feel like there was a turning point with the accountability group, or is it kind of continued small? Like if you can just maybe speak to that for any of these people that are, and just a heads up, guys, there's no motivation for me to have you guys be in these groups other than to help you. There's no cost for it or anything like that. Right. So, but I want you guys, for me, it's about trying to have an impact on you guys. So I want you guys to benefit. So, what was your experience, Patrick, for being in the group? How did it affect you? And what are your thoughts?
Yeah. I'm all about it. I definitely need that accountability. I mean, I live by myself, so sometimes it's like super easy to just waste a day away on Netflix and whatnot. But when you have people that are going to hold you accountable, it gives you that little extra motivation to, get to work, even though nobody's watching you, at home. I don't have any kids that I have to like be responsible for, so I don't have that like extra, weight over me. So sometimes I feel like that's kind of almost a negative that you gotta, it's just really easy to, fall back on some things. So I'm all about that. Just recently, I just had a client I landed for only $150. I was like, this is not worth it. And Grace, she's in our group and she already has a client. We're in the same niche. We just share everything. I feel like I can share everything with these people, which is awesome. I think sometimes you want to hold things back, with people, but since we've been in this group for a long time, and we've been talking for a while, I feel like I can share everything. So I just said, hey, you just want to take both these lead gens right here, and then just split it 50-50 with the client you already have. So she just called the client, her client literally right after I said that, and then he offered like an extra $1,000. So we both just made an extra $500 just like that.
Oh, that's super cool, man.
Like just split it, let her handle it. And the site's already producing. The client I had, that wasn't going to work out long-term. And I could get more on my own, but I got so many unrented sites right now. I'm like, just take this. That's an extra $500 that I can use.
Yeah.
use as well. So I mean, just things like that. And I know some people have had issues with GMBs, and their goals were kind of small, and they raised it after a little bit on that as well.
Yeah, it's like can be a wake up call to see that other people are playing bigger than you, and they've got bigger goals, right? So it sounds like you've got this one deal, but I think you've had a number of other deals, and maybe that's the pathway you were on before the group. Have you had it seems maybe you're better positioned for 2022 than you were 3 months ago, but have you seen an improvement in your results, and do you attribute that to the interaction with the group? If so.
Yeah. I mean, I had a lot of unrented sites, and I still have quite a bit left, but really, dialed in on sales at the end. Just, it's just going through Facebook, and honestly, just having accountability with that, and then, having like a smaller group to share those wins as I'm going, because I had some things that I thought were going to be big wins, and they didn't turn out. It's like just that extra encouragement to go after someone else. And I just landed a bigger client in Philadelphia. I had this one that I helped him close like $30,000, and then he got all sketched out about it for whatever reason. So then I was like, man, that sucked. But then I just got someone that's just as good at closing in that exact same niche, in the exact same area. And he's paying me even more.
Awesome, man.
2 months later. So, but it's like, it's nice to have that group, to have that encouragement, saying, hey, that sucks, but go out and get that next one.
Yeah, you're not in this alone.
You're on alone. It's like, man, that sucked, because I still, I'm doing all right, but still that money's still a decent deal for me right now at this point.
Yeah. Well, I hope you can make it to the live event, man. I know we've connected a few times in the past, and it'd be cool to hang out some more.
Yeah,
what about you, Mr. Devin? Like, what have you seen from this? What would you say to the people that are considering potentially doing the accountability group stuff?
Yeah, aside from like just always having to like have someone else to answer to, like the accountability aspect, but when you're talking to other people and you hear about them making progress and you're going, well, I'm doing things too. Like, why am I not doing? What's the difference? And being able to have 3 or 4 people where you can pick their brains on it. Like you guys really hit on it last week, talking about boulders, pebbles and sand. Like when you're doing a bunch of things that are sand, and you're just like, well, I'm doing a bunch of things, and what's going on? And even if I'm keeping up with my accountability, to be able to, it just really helps you realize what's more important to focus on, even if you're being productive and having people there. So it's like anyone on the fence about it, it's just, it's really just how much do you really want to hold yourself accountable, like to put yourself, to be vulnerable. And I think you have to do that to get to that next step in business. So
for sure,
for anybody.
For sure, man. That's I strongly agree. And that kind of that vulnerability allows you to move past some of the stuff. You got to be willing to admit that there's an issue. And, if you can kind of express that issue to other people that maybe have conquered it, then, we can accelerate the process of getting over it. Is your heat on again or off again, man? I see you got the hat on in there.
So the heat's on, but this house was built in the early 60s and the furnace might be going. And on New Year's Eve, it's going to drop down to 9 out here. Sure, so man. It's touch and go, but we're here.
Yeah, it might be time to head south, man. Go hang out with Jeff in Austin for a little bit.
If it doesn't freeze over for you guys too, But.
Yeah, I was going to say I didn't know it was going to drop that low. If it's 9 in Oklahoma somewhere, it's going to be pretty cold here too.
Yeah, so.
And 65 in Barcelona.
Been nice here the last few days. It's been like 75, 80. Where are you at in Oklahoma, Devin?
Stillwater, Oklahoma.
Stillwater, okay. I was born in Muskogee.
Okay, so you know it.
Awesome. All right. Any other big wins for the year? Come on over to sunny California, Alfredo. Yeah, buddy. All right. Any other big wins or
I actually got recently actually like two things today. I mean, I didn't land any deals from it, but it's potential deals. I just had this one client I've had for a while. All of a sudden, he just added me to. I like kind of asked him about this like a couple months ago, but he never did it. He just added me to a bunch of Facebook groups and just started like tagging me and writing these like really long posts of people that were like looking for marketing and said, "Hey, this guy Patrick helped me out." Like went really detailed into it, and then I just had a couple people reach out via Facebook message for that and shot them some screencasts. One of the guys, unfortunately, is just like completely dominating the area that he wants help in. Like I can't really help you there unless you want to expand it.
Go get it, man. Take it from him.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I know that you have that background in sports, but that is definitely. I've never been into an area where someone's dominating, and I'm like,
well, it's an easy niche. It's like basically just put something decent up, and it'll show number one. Crush
the guy. Whoever's dominating, go get it. That's our attitude in our agency is like, on some level, like I see someone dominating an area, and we go in there, and there's like a part of me that kind of feels bad for him. Because I'm like, we are gonna rip this up, dude. That was fun while it lasted for you. Is kind of like my mindset, but it's like the good days are kind of like they're shrinking because we're coming for you. That's ours. That's gonna be ours. We're gonna own that whole thing, right? I like that's my attitude with this. And I'll tell you when you're talking to your clients and they feel that they like start getting a little bit riled up in there. You know, you kind of hit on something that has been a learning lesson for me this year too, is when you guys get a win, when your client like acknowledges what you're doing is great, this is a good time to ask for something, right? And like, not for more money. That's not what I'm saying, but you know, they're like, hey, you know, you guys are crushing it in this one area over here, right? Where, and I'd love to get more business in this other area. Like, yeah, you know, the reason that we're crushing it over there is because we have this GMB there. Do you have an address or know somebody in this other area that you can connect us with, right? You want this ask to be related to the kind of victory that they're acknowledging, or you guys are awesome. You've done so much amazing work for us. Hey, you know, we're trying to grow our business and we're really selective with the type of people that we work with. Do you know anyone that maybe is in another city in this niche that would be interested in our services? Because I don't want to work with anyone, and I really have built this relationship with you, and it would mean the world if you could make a solid recommendation so that I could get another client like you in another area, right? Something like this that's related to their ask, related to like what they're thanking you for. But it's important. You got to ask for some of these referrals. For us, we have enough clients where we're like buried with fulfillment, but I used to do this and it worked beautifully. You just earn it. You got to earn it. Once they kind of give you that compliment there and they're saying that, then they're like, you've created an asset, right? And you need to take advantage of that asset and use it to get more of these, and it will start to snowball. And yeah, so does that make sense to everyone? Like, we're good with that? All right, cool. So we were talking about the accountability groups. You guys jump into the accountability groups if that sounds like something that you guys would benefit from. Maybe it's not for everyone. Like, it is a commitment. You got to be there for your group on a weekly basis. I don't want people joining. You'll notice in the form that you're kind of like checking something that says you're committed. So that means that you're going to be there. You're going to stand up. You got to have enough like integrity and respect. If your guy is giving you like, if they're full of shit on why they're not meeting their goals, right? Look at them not as if they're an employee, but they owe an explanation. That's what the accountability is for. It's not like this little club that we go and hang out. It needs to be the almost like the more strict you guys can be with each other, the better the group is, right? It lasts 3 months, 90 days. You're going to set your goals, work backwards from those goals. Set like 3 or 4. They don't all need to be business. I recommend that you put some personal stuff in there. It could be weight loss. It could be reading or whatever it is, learning a new language. and then you kind of got a schedule and you guys hold each other accountable. That's kind of what it's like. So if that sounds like something you guys are interested in, I recommend it. We're building out our stuff on our team. It's important as you work with your teams. This is a lesson I was going through today. Like 90 days ago, we had set a bunch of goals and we had set kind of revenue goals, and some things had happened and we decided that these weren't the best goals for us at the time, right? We didn't spend enough time structuring things and we deviated from those goals. And it's important for you guys not to teach your team that it is okay to lose. That's not like, you need to make sure. And that was a fear that I had when I was kind of like thinking about this deviation from our goals that we had made. And for those of you guys working with teams, you need to make sure that that's clear. And that needs to be clear to yourself too. It's not okay for you to lose. It's not okay for you to miss your goals. Like, it's going to happen and we're not perfect, but don't be comfy with it. Don't think that this is just like acceptable and just kind of let it slide down. When you pick these goals for your accountability groups, if you decide to sign up for them, or if you don't and you set your own goals based on whatever it is you do for your yearly planning, do it in a way where you're like you're going to do whatever it takes to make it happen. Get familiar with the cost of your goals when you set these. This is what I'm going to do. This is what it's going to cost me. I'm not talking about money necessarily, right? Like I mentioned this, if you guys are in a relationship and you're going to have to dedicate some time, that means you can't spend as much time with this relationship over the next 90 days, then you need to have that conversation with your significant other. And that's part of the cost, and build that in. And if you understand all these different costs, when the newness of this wears off, it's not all shiny and cool in February, then like you'll still be committed if you're comfortable with that cost. So I think that's a really important part of the process. So we are at 1 hour and 10 minutes. Do you guys have any questions? I wanted to mention one more thing first. Is I know some of you guys are struggling, or some of you guys with the phone system, we didn't have the calls going into the dashboard. So that's fixed. You guys should see all the calls from our phone system inside the dashboard and the company dashboards and stuff now. So we work through that. I know that there's a couple of issues with the GMB post. I think we about have those resolved. We've been working through it. It's been a challenge. Sometimes the posts fail because Google rejects them, and it looks like it's and it's been hard to kind of debug that. But I think we're working through it. So yeah. Any other final questions before we hop off here, guys?
I got one.
I was hoping you'd say something, Harry. It's been too long since I've heard you speak.
You'll probably be really tired of me after this.
Well, it was good talking to you, Harry, man. Have a good New Year.
So this is not related to the software, but I want your take and your comments on the new apparently mandated video verifications.
Yeah, so we talked about this.
About that?
Yeah, I'll tell you, apparently it's not rolled out for all niches, and it's not because we're continuing to get GMBs and we're not facing this like I've heard other people have. And then we did have one of them.
That's actually news. Thank you. That is news.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we got several GMBs over the last like 2 weeks since this, and I think we had it for one of them, and for that one, we actually had the option to send a postcard. As like the video thing was like an option. It wasn't a requirement.
Right.
I think when we get faced with this, and like, look, guys, this is when we're entrepreneurs, you could almost just like interchangeably use that with problem solver. I am not looking forward to solving the problem, but I already have decided that, well, I'll just like, it's not going to be an issue for us. I'm going to figure out a way around it, and I'm going to deal with it. And just like everything else we've done along the way. So maybe it'll even be advantageous where like, if they're going to like give us this ability and we don't have to mail postcards, and maybe I end up with like a bunch of magnets that I'm putting on a truck, and I've got different signage that I'm printing out inside like, what do I need to do? I don't know. Like I'll figure out how to do it. It's certainly not going to rock my world. I have no fear of it right now, but hopefully I don't have to eat my words, but it just seems like how it's been the whole time. It's just like one more hurdle and this is hurdle number 10,000. not number 7, right? So those are my thoughts on it right now.
Well, the concerning factor I have is not the evidence, the signs and the, logo T-shirt and all that sort of stuff, but rather that they want us to be at the location and they're checking our phone to see where we are.
Yeah. So,
that to me is the serious part of it. The rest of it, I got to handle.
Right. But we know that there's different, like I was talking about earlier, I'm in Spain and they didn't let my phone streaming service or the TV service I wanted to stream wasn't working. And I was able to watch it. I found a way, right? There's VPNs, there's other like phone stuff. We'll find a way, right? We're going to find a way every time. And I don't know how far they can push this, man, because like service area businesses don't have offices usually, like, and a lot of these people don't. What is it going to be that long term? Like you have to have a truck with a logo on it to be able to run a service area. Like that's can't be how it is.
Right.
Yeah. So I know people are freaking out, and I'm not. My viewpoint, I'm not super concerned. So I would love for you guys to join me in this lack of anxiety about this, because it's just another bump in the road, right? And we'll see. I think they tried to roll this out a few years ago, and then they reverted it because it was like
they've been requiring it, but not live like this, not location specific. And they're not the only ones. Video verification is not new. It's been around for years on other platforms, including Facebook. If you want to prove your way back in, so to speak. But the location part is the new thing, and the degree to which they seem to be implementing it. That's what's new. So just throwing it out, because I'm kind of trying to gather all the information and research it, and I'm digging through all the contacts I have and groups I'm in and Facebook and Black Hat groups and everything else. And to find that location workaround, how to, when they look at my, that, and they see where it is, and I'm 800 miles away from Nashville, which is where my GMB is, I don't know how to get around that yet. So that's what I'm looking for, solutions. And I share your confidence. I just want to throw this in, and is that even if this is a big breakdown in the process for us, if it really does turn out to cause permanent damage, that's a big breakdown. And my experience of life is that big breakdowns normally precede big breakthroughs, because there's usually something on the other side that's even better. And over and over, that's what's gotten me through business, is just that, you punch through the breakdown and something better will come of it on the other side. Problem is, none of us know what that is, right? So we go,
yeah.
No.
Yeah, I mean, we've been through this a bunch of times, right? Like there's been times where our GMBs were all getting suspended, and I don't know.
I believe very much in the black market to fulfill these holes. So I just used one of my free Google searches, phone app to spoof geolocation. There's tenorshare.net, GPS spoofing for the iPhone, location spoofers. There's all kinds of shit out there.
Yeah. You're not going to be, this video call is not going to be with Mark Zuckerberg. This is going to be with a minimum wage employee
right,
in India that has no clue about where you are, right? It's kind of like, I had an analogy, but I'm not going to go. It would be insulting to someone out there in the world. You've got to trick the minimum wage employees. So, you've got to like, and they don't, honestly, they probably don't they probably don't care. Right. So they've got like a job to do, and these guys are not investigating.
They're not hiring. They're not hiring us.
Right.
This job.
Right. They're aren't detectives that they're hiring to like solve a murder. Right. They're just like spending their 8 hours a day doing whatever they're told to do. So, they're, 999 people out of 1,000 aren't going to do this. And like, once the method is out there of what needs to be done, then like, they're going to have to adapt again. And There's something different with you, Harry. You got new glasses or something, man?
My request is that everybody here who runs into this problem, if you'll just share with us in the group what you ran into, you know, and what you did to overcome it or what barriers you had or whatever, the more of that information we share, the quicker we'll get to a solution.
100%. Yeah. You guys, like,
Well,
when we get through this and we work it, if we're kind of the first people to get through it, I'll make sure that I share it with you guys. And, you know, whatever we're running into, I don't know if you guys know this, but I mean, there's parts of our business that we don't share with anyone, but for the most part, we're an open book on our strategies. One other thing I had written down to share with you guys tonight is I was going through the poll. We've looked at that poll that we put in there a lot and looked at your votes, trying to figure out how we're going to serve you guys better over the next year. And one of the things I know that you guys are struggling with a lot is backlinking. Like we went through, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, we talked about GNB ranking and we talked about getting GNBs, right? So maybe some of that has changed with this. And then I think the third most popular thing was backlinking. One of there's a couple strategies that we've used that have worked pretty well. If you guys haven't used Legit, I think it's spelled Legit. That's a spot that I hear you can get good backlinks from on there, as well as citations. I anticipate having a citation service built into the platform in the first quarter of the year. We're kind of working through that right now. So I would be you know, looking for some of those. For some of you guys, you can pay for some decent backlinks. Some of these times, whatever the site is, you can actually pay through there, and then you can create a relationship with some of these people and get it actually cheaper than they're going through there. Some of these sites that they give you. Point is that you have to get them. I think we'll be dropping some additional backlink training in there with some of the stuff that we do as we move into the new year. I'd love for you guys within the group, share some of the stuff that you guys are really struggling with in the group, and we'll build our training around that. Another thing that I've mentioned a few times that we hope to launch sometime in the first quarter is our own training, right? We've got the playbook that we've done, the different strategies that we use, from getting Google My Businesses to you know, ranking sites, building sites, all the different things. We're kind of building the Netflix model into the platform. If you have a subscription, you'll have access to the different trainings that are in there. So we're putting that stuff in there. All right, guys, it's almost 3 a.m. here in Barcelona. Are there any additional questions before we hop off here? The last questions of the year for the live calls. Are we good? We're so good at delivering content that questions don't exist.
I don't have a question, but real quick, Harry, for you, one thing I have been hearing about from people running into these video verifications is that domain email-based setup of GMBs has been helping, as well as getting websites set up in Google Search Console before requesting, because if you can prove that you're the administrator of a site and you're dealing with not Mark Zuckerberg and you have your site in Google Search Console and you have a domain-based email, I've heard people having success with that. So
yeah, we've been playing around with that, as well as getting some of the citations like that, the bigger citations, Yelp and Facebook, stuff like that, prior to requesting the GMB, like putting that as part of a process. We've been playing around a little bit with the Google Search Console stuff. Kind of have varying success, but like I said, we haven't run into a lot of the video verification issues that I've been hearing about from people. So
I did hear about I heard one tidbit today with 2 recommendations that may be working. The first one is buy your domain from Google for $15.
I heard that one too.
Okay. The second thing is, as soon as you do that, buy a Google Workspace account, and then you get your email handle. And what I heard was, and I can relate to it because I had to set up my own domain-based emails. If you buy your domain from Google and you buy a Google Workspace account for $6 a month, they will take care of all the DNS and all the linking and everything that has to be done to set up the servers. They'll do that for you, which is a pain in the ass in cPanel and Namecheap. And if you don't know how to do it, you can fuck it up really bad. So that was something I heard today as a recommendation. The guy that told me thinks it's working. It's not reliable. It hasn't been tested in terms of statistical significance or anything else. But it does make sense because we do know that Google likes to honor its own properties.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know what's real, right? When there's a million variables, like which ones are the ones that push things through, right? And we've got the, like, for those of you guys that have the Google My Business APIs, that was kind of how we've been setting it up too, is with the workspace stuff.
Right.
Yeah, so I think on our team call today, we were talking about joining some like really high level SEO groups that are expensive. And if we do decide that that's the route that we take, because a lot of these, they work on like the calendar year cycle. So we've been kind of waiting until that year hits, which is a few days away. So if we do that, then I'm excited for the potential to not only have this stuff infused into our agency, but to be able to bring it back to you guys and hear some of the strategies that, maybe you guys wouldn't be ready to join some of these groups that are like, $10,000 a year to be in them, these high level, but maybe we can take that stuff and distill it, test it, play with it, and bring it back to you guys. So I kind of feel like I'm on a mission to help you guys get to that next level and make things easier for all of us. So with that, I'm going to call it a wrap on this call. And I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed our calls during 2021. I certainly did. I've learned a lot from you guys. I'm excited for 2022. I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have an awesome New Year's. And if you're into it, jump into those accountability groups. I would highly recommend checking out the call from last week and setting some goals. Like, I think it was 39% higher chance of achieving your goal if you write it down, 76% if you measure it. So that's what last week's call is a lot about, is kind of the system to do that. So, all right, guys, let's have an awesome new year. Root for my Michigan Wolverines in the national playoffs here on against Georgia. And you guys have an awesome week. And I will see you, I'll see you guys in 2022.
You too. Thanks.
Happy New Year.
Take care.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. Take care.
We'll see you guys soon. Bye.